Hey, welcome back to Socialette. This is episode 447. 3 things that I did differently this launch. Now, every time I launch, I look at it as an opportunity to try something new, to do something different, to test, to tweak, to experiment, and to see how I can turn my launch into something that is super profitable, super impactful, and that is just a lot of fun, because I am a big believer in relaunching the same product over and over and over again. And it's through those repeated launches that you really get the fun, the magic of experimenting and changing things. So I changed quite a few big things in this most recent launch of Launch Magic. The first really big thing that I changed was that I shifted my ideal customer. So previously, my ideal customer was somebody who had never ever launched before, and they were looking to have their first successful launch. They were looking to get their launch off the ground. And this was cool, but what I found was that a lot of people were coming into Launch Magic with no product, no idea what they wanted to launch, and because they hadn't made any kind of moves so far, they weren't really that serious about launching. So while Launch Magic is still super effective for those people, I realized that I had the power to impact a different group of people a whole lot better. And these are people who had already launched, and they'd either been really disappointed with the results and wanted to launch again profitably this time, or people who had already launched profitably and wanted to relaunch and scale that way. I realized these people were the low-hanging fruit for the results because they already had a place to start from. They'd already done the work. I knew that they were serious and committed. So shifting my ideal customer was a huge deal because it meant having to shift a lot of the messaging, a lot of my pre-launch content. I basically felt like I had to reinvent the wheel for a lot of stuff, a lot of the moving parts in my launch, but it was absolutely worth it. The other big thing that I changed, the second big thing that I shifted this launch, was I completely revamped my webinar. So because I had changed my ideal customer, the webinar that I'd created and launched with for the last 2 times I launched Launch Magic, that would no longer resonate with my new ideal customer for this launch. So I had to go through and start from scratch. It was a lot of extra work, but I personally think that the webinar I taught this time around was incredible. I thought it was super valuable. I had some awesome feedback from people. It didn't convert as well as previous ones, which was interesting, but that could also have been because I put the price up. It could have been because I changed the bonuses. It could have been because I changed my sales pitch. There are a lot of different factors that impact how the webinar converts live. The third big thing that I changed this launch was that I created and tested 2 completely new lead magnets. So the first one I created was the Launch Cure Quiz, which was aimed perfectly for that ideal customer who had already launched. And basically what it was a quiz where you went through and you filled out some answers about your last launch, and then it spat out a plan for you to improve your launch next time. And it went really well. I was a little bit surprised that it didn't actually perform that well with Facebook ads, but to my warm audience, to the people who were already on my email list, it was a beautiful nurturing tool, and they really loved that. The other lead magnet I created was a new 5-part email series called 5 Simple Tweaks to Boost Your Launch Profits. That one was relevant to the people who'd launched previously, but it also was relevant to people who had never launched before. And that became my launch lead magnet for Launch Magic, because I think there's a lot of confusion between your standard lead magnet for building your audience and then the lead magnet that you're using when you're launching. And there's a whole different strategy behind that lead magnet that you use while you are launching. So I shared a whole bunch of things that I needed people to know about launching before they'd be ready to sign up for Launch Magic inside that lead magnet. And I think it went beautifully. I got a lot of good feedback about that. So I'm really happy with the changes that I made. I can see right now there's still a lot of challenges with the new messaging and the new direction of Launch Magic, but I'm hoping that now the group of people who are in there at the moment, the group of students I've got this time round, once they get the results and I've got their testimonials to show how people who've already launched can grow their launches using the Launch Magic framework, I suspect it'll become a lot easier the next time I launch to reach that new ideal customer. So there you have it. There's 3 things that I changed in my most recent launch. If we haven't connected on Instagram, you can find me over there at stephtaylor.co. I would love to know if you've launched more than once. Let me know, like, what did you change in between your launches and how did you find that it went? Did it go better? Did it go worse? I'm super curious to hear all of your stories. If you have any friends who you think would benefit from the show, please do tell them. It's how I can help more people. Thank you so much for listening. Catch you next time.